Welcome, welcome, a very welcome to you. Here is we
Thank you.
have someone for whom we were waiting since long. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Steve Frazier, the tailblazing founder of Release the Coffee Cups, a bold movement empowering thousands to ditch caffeine dependence and unlock their innate vitality, focus, and self assurance. As the acclaimed author of Release the Coffee Cups, Winning the Battle with Caffeine, Steve masterfully unpacks the hidden psychological and physiological traps of addiction, blending his 40 years of entrepreneurial greed with certified self sabotage coaching wisdom. From bootstrapping six thriving restaurants, great, wow, to earning his MBA later in life, Steve's journey is a testament to reinvention. Today, he's here to share how everyday achievers can swap self defeating cycles for ritual of unbreakable energy and growth. Once again, a very warm welcome to you, Steve. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Well,
Dinesh. That was a very gracious introduction.
thank you. Thank you so much. Now, within 30 seconds or so, would you like to say something about you, or you want me to jump on the questions directly?
I'll give you 30 seconds right now. I am not anti-caffeine. My book is not anti-caffeine. I am
Great.
pro health and pro knowledge. So it is better to be positive and not negative. And you live your life the way you want to. I am here to give you information, and you can take with that information what you like.
Definitely. And I will also strongly recommend to have his book, have a look at it. I am sure that you will definitely love it. Not only love it, but you will learn, get, and able to practice number of life lessons. So nice of you, Steve. Well, Steve, these are the few questions that we would try to accommodate in
I'm ready.
small time period.
Yep.
Well, the first question is, Steve, what's your personal history with this caffeine?
When I was in the restaurant business for 23 years, I lived on caffeine. And I mean, there was a lot of long hours. Anybody that's been in the restaurant business understands that. I had no idea what I was doing to myself. And I often had to have a beer or a shot of tequila when I went to bed to go to sleep because it was messing with my circadian rhythm. And 11 years ago, I had a health scare. I thought I was having a heart attack. I went to the emergency room. Turned out to be something called premature ventricular contractions, PVCs. And I said that as we watched the EKG machine go up and down every time I had one, I thought I was having a heart attack. I mean, my heart's jumping out of my chest.
Hmm.
And what happened is that he said, "You're just very sensitive to these. Everybody has them." I said, "So what causes this?" Well, the first thing he told me is I wasn't going to die, which I was really happy about. Okay. And then I said, "What causes this?" He said, "Well, stress." And then he paused and he smirked a little bit and he said, "And caffeine." And so I quit because I didn't like this. I was very uncomfortable. When you think you're on the verge of death, you really take a look at different things in your life. And so after several years, like everybody that's ever been addicted to anything, I thought, oh, I can drink some of this, and I'll be just fine.
Hmm.
Well, fast forward to 2 years ago, and I realized because I drank caffeine the whole time then 6 more years.
Hmm. Oh God.
And so I thought I'm going to quit. So I quit cold turkey, which I
Wow.
which I don't recommend. Okay, because it hurts. I had a headache for 3 days, screaming headache for 3 days,
Oh God.
brain fog, fatigue, and my method in my book, in my programs are all I recommend tapering or replacement, not cold turkey. And so now I don't do any caffeine. Rarely. In fact, I did my first road trip in September. That was 2 months ago. I drove for 25 hours to Florida and 25 hours back, and I have never had any caffeine. I hadn't done that in 30 all my life, 35 years that we've been driving
Mm-hmm.
to Florida. So, and I never
Oh.
felt better. When I got into the room, I went to sleep because I was tired. My circadian rhythm wasn't messed up, and so uh, my relationship with caffeine is a love hate. I liked the buzz and the stuff that it gave me. It's all
Mm-hmm.
artificial. It's all borrowed. It's not real, and it only lasts for a limited amount of time. An hour and a half to 2.5, maybe 2 or 3 hours. You get dopamine, you get cortisol, you get adrenaline, and so you feel good. Dopamine is a wonderful hormone. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know how much you know about it, but
No,
it,
I don't know.
it makes you feel good. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like your body's natural high. And whenever you drink caffeine, you get a dopamine hit, and so you just feel good about yourself. And then you also get a cortisol hit, which is a stress hormone. Now, when you wake up in the morning, you naturally have a jolt of cortisol. That's what gets you going in the morning. And this is the natural circadian rhythm. So this isn't a bad thing. Now, if you throw caffeine on top of that, then
Mm-hmm.
you're doubling your cortisol, and that's not good because now your circadian rhythm, if you have any more caffeine throughout the day, your circadian rhythm is going to be messed up. And so what's going to happen is that your sleep cycle is going to be messed up. And I'll touch that in a minute. But the third thing that happens whenever you drink caffeine, whether it's in the morning, in lunch, afternoon, evening, is you get an adrenaline spike. Because when the caffeine goes into your body, it hits your adrenal glands, and what it does is it puts you into fight or flight, and that's what adrenaline does. Now, this is a good thing if you are going to fight or flight.
Oh. Oh.
It is not a good thing if you're going to sit at your kitchen table or
Hmm.
sit at your desk at work, because one of the things that adrenaline does,
Hmm.
it puts glucose into your muscles.
Right.
Realize you're going to fight. It gives you energy, right?
Right.
When you don't use that,
Hmm.
it spikes your blood sugar. Well, what's your body's reaction?
Oh.
It pumps insulin. Your pancreas
Right.
then, okay, I'm gonna make a bold statement here. Our bodies are beautifully and wonderfully made, and we do everything we can to mess them up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
I'm just, because we're human, right? And self-sabotage, we all have that self-sabotage tool shed, whether it's physical, mental, financial, whatever. We all have it. It's realizing that you have an issue and then addressing it. And my mission is to spread information, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, and these are why I like to call fun facts to know and tell. There might be a quiz later, maybe not. We'll see. Okay. First thing is what does caffeine do to men?
Hmm.
Well, one of the things is it does, again, when you pump the adrenaline in, that increases your heart rate, which increases your blood pressure.
Right.
Now, this is to get you in that fight or flight. Okay. Now, if you do this regularly, your blood pressure is going to go up because you're always going to be in a fight
Oh.
or flight, right? And so then what's going to happen? You're going to go to your doctor, and your doctor is going to say, well, your blood pressure is high. I'm going to put you on a medication.
Oh God.
And then you have a reaction to that. So you go on another medication. Okay. And pretty soon you've got a whole bunch of them, right? I'm 68 years old. I'm on no medications.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yes, my numbers are all good. My weight is stable. I'd like to lose 10 pounds, and I will. But the point is that what that does is it raises your blood pressure. Now, another thing with men, and this is something that most men don't want to admit, but it makes you nervous. It makes you anxious because whenever you're in fight or flight, your anxiety level goes up because your heart rate's going up, right?
Right.
And men don't want to talk about this. In fact, in most societies, men are encouraged not to talk about their feelings or their emotions. Okay, so what do? You keep it all in, all right, and that's not good. You should talk about it. I know people may criticize women for talking about their emotions. That's the best thing they can ever do because it helps to get past that. Now, one other thing, when you put extra cortisol in your body, whenever you drink caffeine, because it automatically kicks your cortisol that's coming from your adrenal gland. Okay. You are going to, first of all, you can get a cortisol belly, because when you have
Mhm.
excess cortisol, it goes to your belly. It's just where this is what happens. It's a natural reaction. And I want to make an observation here. These aren't my opinions. Okay. I wrote
Right.
a book. You talked about it, Release the Coffee Cups. There's over
Hmm.
300 references there. I
Hmm.
am talking about studies. This is all science. These are objective facts. So, one of the things that it will do to men, cortisol and testosterone do not get
Hmm.
along.
Oh.
Okay, because the more cortisol you have in your body, the less testosterone you're going to have. And so the only time that this helps a little bit is if you do like a pre-workout drink and you go and you go and lift weights and do exercise heavily, you actually will produce some testosterone when that's happening. But as soon as you come off of that high, your cortisol is going to stay up, and you're going to drink more caffeine. What's going to happen is you stop producing testosterone, and your testosterone levels go down. Now we're going to talk. I'm going to and also another thing that it does to men is it fragments their sperm, and it also makes it less mobile. Okay, so it
Hmm.
makes it harder to conceive. Now, in a minute, we're going to talk about women and what it does to women. But I guess what I can say is that if a man and a woman are both drinking caffeine
Hmm.
and they're having a hard time conceiving, caffeine could be the culprit. Okay. Now, when I talk about these things, caffeine doesn't do this to everyone. Everybody processes caffeine differently. Okay. Not just men and women, but even men. You and I could have the same tea or coffee. One of us would get a buzz, one of us wouldn't. Okay. Because it's an enzyme. It's called CPY1A2. It's in our livers. It processes 95% of our caffeine, and we all
Hmm.
process differently. Now, so you have multiple things here that it can be affecting men. Now, with women, it affects them even more, because what it does, women have a lot more hormonal stuff going on, because
Right.
that's who they are. I mean, I'm not judging anybody. This is the way it is, right? And so what happens is that it will make them more nervous, more anxious, okay, than they already are, because they've got a lot of things going on with their kids, their wives, their husbands, their family, whatever. It now increases that anxiety level. But when I talked about the fertility issue, what
Hmm.
happens is when you drink caffeine, when women drink caffeine, it
Yeah.
decreases the blood flow to the uterus.
Hmm.
And so the egg is going to be less susceptible to being impregnated,
Ooh.
right? Okay, and again, these are studies, right? So also, women in their menstrual cycle, in different periods of the menstrual cycle, they process caffeine differently. And there's
Oh.
there's 3 or 4 stages, but the one I'm going to talk about the most is called the luteal phase, and that's 14 to 28 days into their period, or into their cycle, which is right before they get their period. In that time, because their estrogen is high, they process caffeine 70% slower.
Ooh.
Okay, now if you look at the half life of caffeine, generally is 5 to 8 hours. Now you take 70% on that. Now your half life is 8 to 12 hours.
Hmm.
Now you realize that a woman that drinks a cup of coffee at noon and doesn't have any other coffee, but any other caffeine, but just at noon, she has a
Hmm.
150 milligram cup. At 10 o'clock at night, she probably has 75 milligrams still active in her system.
Ooh.
Now here's something that's interesting, is that undoubtedly people that drink caffeine go to sleep. Okay, they sleep, but they don't. Sometimes takes them longer, and their sleep is actually fractured. So I'm going to touch this, and then I'll go back to what happens with women, because that's really important. Your sleep cycle, you have 4 stages in your
Hmm.
sleep cycle. The
Okay.
first the first stage is about 5%. It's when you're falling off to sleep. Sometime now this can be extended if you're on caffeine, but again, everybody's different. So you could fall right asleep. I had a gentleman, I had a host of a podcast last week. He said he drinks a Diet Coke at 11 o'clock at night and goes right to sleep. Well, that's okay, but his sleep was terrible because what happens is in stage 2, which is your longest stage, that's 40%.
Okay.
You don't do much there. Your brain has a little activity. You might dream a little bit, but you're like just subconscious. But in stage 3 is where things start to happen, because once your circadian rhythm is disrupted, stage 3 sleep doesn't kick in as fast, and it's shortened. Okay.
Ooh.
And in stage 3 is where you heal. This is where men produce testosterone. It's where women produce estrogen. It's where we heal our muscles. Okay.
Ooh.
Now it is activated in a shorter period or longer period of time. So it doesn't kick in as fast, and it's shortened. And then you get to stage 4. And stage 4 is REM sleep. That's rapid eye movement. And this is where you dream. And this is where your subconscious is actually working on your brain, kind of doing some repairs. Now, what you don't know, and one of my favorite sayings is from Socrates, and that is, you don't know what you don't know. And
Yes.
as I wrote the book, I had all these aha moments where the light bulb would go on above my head. And you have 4 to 6 sleep cycles a night, not just one. So every time you go into a new sleep cycle, stage 2 gets longer, and stage 3 and stage 4 gets shorter. What happens? You wake up, you're tired.
Yes.
So what do?
Coffee.
Yeah, sexy. Good answer. You are a great student. Thank you. Because what do? You need it because you're out of gas. I mean, you wake up and you're tired. You're supposed, I wake up in the morning, I have energy. I look at the sun. Now I have a sun lamp because it's dark when I get up, but that helps boost my cortisol. And naturally, I have energy.
Right.
Now throughout the day, my cortisol goes down and my melatonin and my adenosine goes up. And a lot of people have heard about melatonin, but a lot of people have not heard about adenosine. And adenosine is what actually puts you to sleep at night. Again, it's the natural circadian rhythm. And you have things in your brain called adenosine receptors. And here's the tricky part. The caffeine molecule is very similar to the adenosine molecule. And so when you drink caffeine, it plugs the adenosine receptors. So you don't get tired. Now, when you do this all day, you still will probably go to sleep, but your sleep's going to be terrible. I just mentioned that, stage 3 and stage 4. But the more caffeine you drink, the more adenosine receptors your brain produces, because your brain says, hey, I need more adenosine because I need rest. I need good rest, right? So now when you quit, if you quit cold turkey, which I did, you get this massive headache. That is your adenosine receptors opening up, and you have this massive blood flow to your brain. And the only solution here to stop that headache is to drink more caffeine.
Yes.
Because that plugs those receptors in your brain.
Correct.
So it's a vicious cycle. I talk about that in 14 chapters of my book. It's a vicious cycle. Because it's a rinse and repeat. You can't help it. You have to continue to drink more caffeine, and as you get more adenosine receptors, you have to drink more caffeine. Otherwise, you get tired and brain fatigue, brain fog. Now we're going to go back to the women, okay? Because how's the caffeine affecting the woman in particular? Well, we talked about the processing of the caffeine during their menstrual cycle. Now, what happens to a woman?
One second. Just please, it will be nice that please you continue, because we are not going to have other questions, because whatever you are doing is perfectly in rhythm and in line. So please continue. Please continue.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Yes, lovely. Because each and every statement has got connection with other. Please continue.
After 40 podcasts, you start to get the hang of what you should be saying and what you shouldn't, right? Okay. So mom, and I have my mission is to provide information, but my micro mission is to ask you and any of your listeners, if you know somebody that has any of these symptoms, that you should just give them this information. In particular, though, I would like to address anybody that knows a pregnant woman that's drinking caffeine, because you and I have free will and free won't.
Right.
You and I control what goes into our bodies. The fetus doesn't. Here's a fetus.
Oh.
Okay, see that? The fetus doesn't control. Fetus only gets what mom puts in, right? Now, I mentioned briefly the CPY1A2 enzyme, and that's what processes. It processes. Yeah, it's in the liver. Yeah, CPY1A2. It's an enzyme, and that processes the caffeine in the liver in our bodies. Babies don't get this enzyme until they're at least 3 to 6 months old.
I see.
So the fetus can't process any caffeine. And so what happens is that it just stays in their system. It stays in their brains. It stays in their fat, and it hurts development. Okay. Now, caffeine has been shown, and it can lead to these things. It can lead to low birth weight. It can lead to miscarriages. It can lead to stillbirths. It can lead to developmental issues like ADD, ADHD, but also just the fact that the baby is not getting everything that it should because it's got all this caffeine in it. And adenosine receptors in the baby actually, because it's in their brain, it actually helps communicate to the body how it should be developing in the womb. And the caffeine is plugging those adenosine receptors. So here's a question. And it's all over the world. Babies, how many millions of babies are born every day? I don't even know. Millions, right? Okay, after 12 hours, they get out of they're born and they start screaming bloody murder. And why is that? Well, it could be that their adenosine receptors opened up and they're getting this caffeine withdrawal headache. Now, we all know that when a woman goes into and has a baby and she's addicted to drugs, the doctors know this ahead of time. And so they put the baby into a detox or withdrawal program, because otherwise the baby possibly could just die from withdrawal. And so, but how many people actually think about this when it comes to caffeine? I believe it's rare. It's not impossible, but I think it's rare. And this goes down to something that I like to bring up. It's called cognitive dissonance. Are you familiar with that term? Okay. That is where we all have long held beliefs, and it doesn't matter what culture, what race, wherever you are, you have certain beliefs. And when new facts, objective facts are put into your life, cognitive dissonance will say, that's not true, even though it's objective facts. Now, how many nurses and doctors drink caffeine and don't address caffeine symptoms because they don't have them, right? And so now let's go back to baby. We'll go back to mom and baby, okay? But the cognitive, I had a host a couple months ago, and I told him that my mission was like a salmon swimming upstream. Have you've seen a picture, right? Where the salmon is going up to spawn.
Right.
Okay. And he chuckled and he said to me, he said, "No, Steve, you are a salmon swimming against a tsunami." Ooh. Because there's 6 billion people in the world drinking caffeine.
Oh God.
In the United States, 85% alone of everybody drinks caffeine. That's 200 to 300 million people. And you don't want to hear that caffeine isn't good for you. There's no documented study that says caffeine is good for you. It just doesn't exist. Coffee, on the other hand, there are some things in good organic coffee that can be like polyphenols. Now, you don't want to do that with caffeinated coffee. You want to drink that with decaf. Okay. And regular decaf has 10 to 15% still caffeine in it. And they use chemicals. So you don't want to do that because it's fairly toxic in large amounts. What I drink, and I I drink a decaf almost every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I drink organic Swiss
Oh,
water processed, and
can you
that
please give recipe?
yeah,
What is that?
the Swiss water process takes out 99% of the caffeine, and there's no chemicals because it's just water. And so we go back now, and I went on a tangent there. So we're going to briefly go back to the woman and say, okay, if you're having a hard time conceiving, you might want to consider quitting caffeine. If you are pregnant, I would encourage, if you know anybody that's pregnant and drinking caffeine, and it doesn't matter. Caffeine is everywhere. It's in coffee, it's in tea, it's in energy drinks, it's in soda, it's in chocolate, it's in medications. I mean, there's a medications in the United States that are PMS medications, and they've got
Mm-hmm.
huge amounts of caffeine, and caffeine actually aggravates PMS symptoms. It makes them worse. It doesn't make them better. It gives you a temporary high because of the
Right.
dopamine, the adrenaline, the cortisol. But in all, it's going to make you feel worse. Okay, so my mission again is to, if you know someone, please pass this information on to them, because
Mm-hmm.
of those 6 billion people, there's probably 2 billion of them, and I'm just throwing that number out there. It's arbitrary. They're having a health issue, and they don't know that it's related to caffeine.
Caffeine. Correct.
Caffeine, yeah.
Correct.
And, it's legal, it's socially accepted, it's often socially promoted. And quitting caffeine is, the actual physical part is fairly easy. Whether you cold turkey or not, even tapering, it's easy. But staying off of caffeine is very hard because of social pressure and
Right.
and it's a habit thing. If the first thing you do when you get up is have a coffee, you have to figure out, and you have to have a plan. Now, I do this in my book. I have it in my coaching program, and that's on
Mm-hmm.
releasethecoffeecuffs.com. And I've got multiple programs, and they're very affordable. Some have coaching, some are just at your own pace. But if you have support, it's easier to quit. As in everything else, whether it's smoking, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, it doesn't matter. If you have a support system in place,
Hmm.
it is easier to quit than just on your own.
Right.
And so, I've mentioned several times, and I'll kind of wrap up temporarily. There's two things I want to leave you with. One is a wife, something my wife talks about. She's got these things. Her name's Brenda. Call them Brendaisms. And she says this. She said, "You can take a horse to water, but
Hmm.
you can't make it drink." Now,
Correct.
you've heard this, right? However, you can make it thirsty.
Oh.
My role is, I want to make people thirsty for information about caffeine, and then let them decide for themselves. Is caffeine having a negative effect? Now, and there's so much more, but especially for women, when caffeine is a diuretic. And so what happens? You go to the bathroom more. Well, you don't just pee out water, you pee out minerals. And all of a sudden, calcium and magnesium is not there, and your bones are brittle, and you go into post-menopause, and you're breaking bones, and you're doing osteoporosis. Okay, this can lead to these things. Okay, and then the second thing that I will leave you with, because I know we're almost done, is that I've mentioned several times, you know somebody. The question is this: perhaps that
Hmm.
someone is you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, you can reach me at releasethecoffeecuffs.com. That's CUFFS. That's a play on handcuffs. There's a contact page. I will respond to your emails if you send them to me. If you have questions, I will help you. I'm going to send you some links for your show notes. And there's tools and trackers. There's information there on caffeine that your listeners may want to know. So I'll get those to you when we're done today. And I wish everybody a successful journey if they choose to quit. And if you don't quit, do one thing for me. First thing when you wake up in the morning is drink lemon water and wait an hour and then have your coffee, because it gives your cortisol a chance, your circadian rhythm. It gives it a chance to kick in naturally.
Okay, okay, okay. And I promise you that at least from tomorrow, I will start drinking lemon water in the morning.
Okay, excellent.
Yes,
I'm going to hold you
yes.
to that. I'm going to call you up sometime in the morning. I'm going to make you show
Please,
me drinking the lemon water.
I will, I will,
Okay, yeah.
I will.
Okay. So
Good, good, good.
if unless you have anything else, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it immensely.
So nice of you. I don't have words to add any comment or make any comment or think of any comment. No, I don't have any comments because each and every paragraph or sentence that you spoke, they were all interrelated one after another. And especially the data that you gave scientifically proves that you mentioned, they are really, I'm sure that the people who are listening, once upon a time, there were 13 people live who were listening to your talk. And I'm
Mhm.
sure that even after this, by grace of God, I could have this recording and I will able to put it on the our platform, and people will be love to have it. And I promise you that I will be the first one to listen to your record again, because many, yeah, because many of the things, because I always think myself that I am, oh, I'm clever, I know many things, but no, it is not that. The person who has gone in depth in his subject, he definitely knows much more than what I know.
Yep.
So yes, I will go through it, and not only that, I recommend everyone who is listening or who would be listening, that please, please, please see that you keep yourself away from the caffeine, any type of caffeine.
Yep.
It may be a drug or it may be even ordinary coffee. Even the coffee has got that substance. So it's better to keep away. And by saying so, Steve, let me tell you that I am not at all taking anything. No tea, no coffee, no caffeine, no smoking, no alcohol, nothing, nothing.
Good for you.
So when I am not taking anything, yes, I have right to tell you. I have all
Yep.
power to tell you.
Yep.
Otherwise, you will say, because when you point out one finger to someone, three fingers are towards you,
That's right.
towards you. Yes.
Isn't that
So
something how that works?
correct.
Yep.
So yes. So please take, and I'm so much thankful to you that you have given so much of information.
It's
Very,
my
very
pleasure.
well. On
Yep.
behalf of this platform, I sincerely pray my Almighty God to give you all strength, wisdom, time, power, money, and everything, so that the mission that you have taken and the information that you are spreading, please keep on spreading. Please keep on spreading. It was lovely session. I love this session. So nice of you. Thank
Yep.
you very much. Please be
You're welcome.
there on the stage. I will just end the session and then I will talk to you. Please be
Okay.
there. Thank you, sir.
You're
End
welcome.
the session.